We begin tonight with an update on a story we told you back in March. The tools and a truck thieves stole from a church group that was rebuilding homes after the hurricane are back. They're not the same ones, though. The Reach Global group was able to replace them all. Brian Burns joins us to tell us how. Brian.
Mackenzie, the group based at Bayshore Bible Church on Rodfield Road suffered the loss of thousands of dollars worth of tools that had been donated to the church so that they and their volunteers could perform their 3 to 5 year mission to help rebuild from Harvey. And we met with the Reach Global representative at the church this morning who showed us just some of the tools that had been donated to replace the stolen ones. Reach Global Crisis Response is a faith-based network of churches around the country who send volunteers into areas impacted by natural disasters. Security has been added to the storage sheds behind Bayshore after donations began arriving within a couple of days of us airing the story back in March. Volunteers from around the country use the church as a dormitory while working on homes around the coastal bend, and the thieves made off with those tools while the volunteers were sleeping in the middle of the night.
Within 2 days, the UPS truck and the FedEx truck and trucks from all over and finances started to come in donation. And every morning was like Christmas.
Pastor says they added the shipping containers to hold the tools because they were more easy to secure than the sheds that the thieves broke into. Now, since Harvey hit, the group has hosted 1,300 volunteers from around the country, and they have repaired and rebuilt at least 20 homes. Pastor says donations came from everywhere.
We had people that gave $25. We had people that gave a drywall knife. And then we had pallet loads. And we had significant donations from churches and individuals, $2,000-$3,000 at a shot. And so it was awesome to see just communities come together, churches come together, and the people of God come together to have this all replaced.
Reach Global is currently hosting about 25 volunteers from 2 churches in western Massachusetts who've been working on 2 homes in Aransas Pass. And coming up tonight at 6, we'll see a home those volunteers have completed repairs on and a ribbon cutting ceremony conducted by a church pastor. Mackenzie?
Okay, thank you, Brian.